In this video, I'm going to show you what I feel is the perfect LinkedIn profile for any B2B business owner looking to generate more leads from LinkedIn in 2024. I'll break it down section by section, and I'll also give away a free checklist that you can go through to make sure that your LinkedIn profile becomes a client attracting magnet in 2024. All right, so let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, it looks like he's got a really cool and quirky profile picture. So he's got this little fishes swimming around his face. He's got bubbles blowing out of his mouth. And it looks like a very well done water splash themed profile. Let's look at further elements in his profile that make it really stand out from the crowd. All right, so if we click onto his profile, we can see that he's actually got a video. So yeah.
Just like you, who feel like they're drowning on LinkedIn. I'll make sure you make a splash and not a belly flop with your prospective customers. Dip your toe in the water with my free LinkedIn profile review. Check it out in the featured content section below.
All right, so I feel it's really interesting to say the least. It's funny, it's quirky, it makes you stand out, and I'm sure if you've seen him in tight shorts, you won't forget him. Now let's get into some of his other neat tricks. If you look at his LinkedIn banner, he's made a really nice looking LinkedIn banner. You can see that what he does is clear from his profile picture. It says make a splash on LinkedIn with a profile that converts. You can see that he's really all about helping you stand out on LinkedIn. So it becomes the banner and the photo make it very clear about who he helps and how. Let's get into some of his other neat tricks. His name is another neat trick that he's done. So he establishes his nickname here. He says that he goes by Dino. And then where in the pronoun section, where typically people write their pronouns, he's written down what he does. He says, I'm your profile guy, right? Like he helps you create a better LinkedIn profile. There's another really neat trick that he's done. So this particular section is where LinkedIn allows you to record the pronunciation of your name. Let's look at what he's done here.
Hey, this is Dino at Influxio, helping B2B business owners make a real splash on LinkedIn.
Amazing, right? Amazing. In the section where he's supposed to say his name, he's also pitching his services, and it makes it really clear that he actually helps you create a great LinkedIn profile and get more clients. All right, so those were the few things that I wanted to cover about his profile. So I really like his LinkedIn headline. He says something like, get your LinkedIn profile score, LinkedIn profile optimization expert for CEOs, creators, coaches, and consultants. Again, makes it very clear who he helps and how. And of course, he's got a ton of followers, so that establishes his credibility further. There's some other interesting elements here. So if you look at his contact info, he's got multiple different websites, and they are all his own websites. So first of all, his profile URL is optimized, so he doesn't have those weird, letters and numbers that yours probably has. So he says Craig Dean, profile optimization expert, so which is great. In his website section, he's listed different pages on his website, which is an interesting way to filter profile visitors. So if you go to his about section, then he's continuing his story further, right? He's telling you a little bit more about his journey. He says when he was around 12 years old, he nearly drowned. And, that's when he had this fear of water. And then when he was 16, he decided to join the army. And now what he does is he helps people make that splash on LinkedIn. So he's done really well at storytelling here. He's taken his childhood accident and converted it into how he helps business owners actually get the most out of LinkedIn. Now, there are some other interesting elements here as well. Rather than put a link to his website, he's actually put in a link to his quiz, LinkedIn Profile Score quiz. So he actually helps B2B business owners or CEOs, creators, consultants, and coaches figure out how good their profile is, right? So this is a genius way to qualify a potential LinkedIn profile visitor, because they are taking action and they are qualifying themselves for his services, right? Once they fill out the quiz, he reaches out to them with a connection message, and he's got around 95% conversion rate on that outreach. And after that, he's got a pretty high success rate of getting them on sales calls as well. That's how he's really positioned himself. There are some really interesting elements here, and you can definitely take away some of these elements to implement in your profile starting tomorrow. Let's dive deeper into the other elements of it. Within the profile section, he's actually listed out what kind of services he provides. So if you look at it, he's said that he does content strategy, brand marketing, lead generation, social media marketing, logo design, brand consulting, brand design, graphic design. It makes it very clear what he does, and he's also mentioned his pricing, and he's obviously listed his about section as well. LinkedIn services are a new LinkedIn feature, and it really helps you get more clients just based on your LinkedIn profile, right? This was all about his profile section. Now let's move to some of his other elements. Let's look at the about section or the LinkedIn profile summary. Now, in the LinkedIn profile summary, I have a little bit of a critique here. I believe it's too long. Your LinkedIn about section shouldn't be that long, but there's still a few things we can learn from this about section. So the first things first, he's establishing the problem very clearly. He says that you're one of the about 17 million CEOs, coaches, founders, consultants on LinkedIn. 99% of them fail to turn profile visitors into sales, including you. So he's calling out your problem. And this is all because you don't have an optimized profile. He's telling you why you're failing, right? So he establishes the problem very, very clearly. The other interesting thing that he's done here, that he's used a very interesting framework in copywriting that's called loss aversion. So if you look at what he's saying here, he says not projecting yourself as an authority equal to lost business opportunities. People often treasure what they stand to lose much more what they stand to gain, right? So they would be much more averse to a loss as opposed to gaining something. So he's really positioned his solution as something that protects them from lost business opportunities, which I think is genius, right? So you can think of how you can implement something like this in your about section that makes your profile visitors feel that they stand something to lose by not taking an action and talking to you. So let's get deeper into what he does. All right. So he says, imagine what they think when they read your profile. You don't highlight their needs, so they don't believe you can help them, right? In a vast ocean of over 875 million users, you need a profile that fosters trust and resonates with your prospective clients. With a watery profile, you repel prospective clients, lose out to other experts in your field, limit your chances of connecting with valuable people. So again, very interesting case study in loss aversion, right? So he's telling you all that you stand to lose by not working with him. He then positions his services as the solution, right? So he says something like, if you take control and optimize your profile, you stand out from the crowd, you focus on building a robust business, and then you show your clients that you understand their needs, right? Then he goes into a little bit of a pitch about why LinkedIn and why LinkedIn is a good tool, which I think he could have cut down a little bit more because, again, it becomes too long otherwise. But then he positions his services very clearly. He says something like, for a rapid lead converting profile, you need to work with a profile optimization expert who provides a powerful headline. So these are all the things that he does, right? He's positioned his services very clearly based on the problem and the loss aversion elements that he's put in before. An attention grabbing banner, professional client focused about section, a profile optimized for SEO across your pool of expertise. We'll get into this later about how he's done SEO on his profile, which means he shows up on LinkedIn when people search for certain things like profile optimization. And then the ultimate trust building factor, he's put in a recommendation right in the about section from a client, right? So Craig has a deep understanding of LinkedIn and knows how to leverage the platform. I highly recommend Craig. So obviously it's a great trust building element. The next thing obviously is his offer, right? His offer is a great offer because he's now put in his money back guarantee. So now you'd be stupid to not take advantage of this offer. In sales, this is called a no-brainer offer. He's put together a very good no-brainer offer. And he says something like if you don't get 30 leads in the first 14 days of having your profile fully built and optimized, you get your money back. Strong offer. All right, so he's got a very strong call to action and says, drop me a DM and start making a splash on LinkedIn with a profile that converts. Good about section. He could have possibly, made it shorter, but really good about section gives us a lot to think about. What else, right? Let's get into other elements that make his profile great. I really like his featured section. He's put in the LinkedIn profile quiz with which the prospects auto qualify themselves. He's got a really nice playbook in here about how people can optimize their profile on their own. He's got a profile power hour where he helps people with some tips around profile optimization. And then obviously he's got his video testimonials and a post about how he helped a client and the client was happy. So nothing better to establish trust than happier clients, right? So that's great. His feature section is good. Again, like I said, his URL is something to look at. He doesn't have those weird letters or numbers that your profile URL probably has, so you need to figure out how to change it. There's an easy way to change it. You can just Google it. We also have a blog on it if you want to. I'll put it in the link below. Then the other section that I really like from his profile is his experience section. Now, what he's done with his experience section is kind of genius. He's not treated his experience section like a resume of all the roles he's had. Instead, he's actually used his experience section as a pitch for his services again, right? So if you look at his experience, he talks about LinkedIn profile optimization expert. So he's been doing this for about 5 years now. Again, he does profile deep dives and he also does direct messaging, right? So rather than talking about where he's worked in the past, which your clients don't care about, right? Where you worked in the past and all of that. What they care about is how good are you at what you can do for them, right? So that's where he stands out. I know he used to work at some big companies before, but he's not put any of that in there, right? Because that's not relevant to his clients. So it's such a nice client-centric LinkedIn profile. So let's cover one of his experiences and see why this is really good. He now goes into, he almost treats it like his own website, and he goes deeper into what he offers. So he offers banner design, carousel, templates, DMs, much more. And then he also lists down his skills to make sure that potential clients understands that he really can do what he's talking about. And like last but not the least, he actually puts in another testimonial right in there, right? So far, I've only had a consultation with Craig, but you can tell that he knows his stuff. Already gleaned loads of useful tips about my profile, about the lead generation and closing process just from a short call. Even if a client doesn't want to work with him, they still want to talk to him, right? Because he's giving out free value just on a sales call without even taking a single penny from them, let alone a pound. This is exactly what you want on your profile. You want to be known as person who helps people without expecting money. Then he has a very clear call to action again. So he says DM me or visit Influxio, and he's put in his phone number as well if you want. Lots of things to learn from his experience section. Let's get deeper into what are the other elements I like. So we talked about SEO. What is SEO? What is LinkedIn SEO? It's fairly straightforward. The thing is, okay, so if we search for profile optimization in his profile, we see that he's written those words 41 times, right? So this means when somebody search for profile optimization in LinkedIn, his profile should show up. And sure enough, it does. He's in the first 10, right? He's on number 7, right? Which is great, right? Now, if somebody is doing a profile optimization, they would definitely look at his profile and potentially give him new business, right? So you should think about what keywords you want to show up for when people are searching for you on LinkedIn, and then you should show up for them, right? You should include them enough times in your LinkedIn profile so LinkedIn knows that I need to show this person's profile when a potential client is searching for this keyword. All right, so that's SEO. Now let's get into the other thing that I like about him. He's very consistent with his content. If you look at his activity section, like he's posting almost every other day, which I love. That shows that he's active. That shows that he's got something to say. And a lot of it is very client-centric, so they get a lot of value out of his content. So for new beginners, I would recommend posting at least once a week. And the missing piece actually is commenting. You should be commenting at least 40 times a month or 10 times per week to make sure your profile becomes visible to your target market. So if you look at his comments, I'm sure he's commenting just 58 minutes ago. So great. He's an active guy, busy guy. He's got like 81 recommendations. Like it's one of the biggest trust building factors when it comes to converting a stranger into your fan is when other people say you're awesome, right? And clients who've paid you money say you're awesome, right? If you want more recommendations, I've actually got a really nice message template to share with you. I'll put it in the description below. The usual recommendation template that LinkedIn gives out that, hey, can you please recommend me on LinkedIn? That doesn't really work. So if you use this recommendation template, I'm sure you'll get more and more recommendations. I'll obviously link it in the description below. I think I had it somewhere. Let's talk about his certifications. Again, he's got one certification and it's all around brand strategy. So that makes it believable that he knows what he's talking about because he does brand strategy for a lot of clients. Another thing I really like is his project section. So here in the project section, he's actually written a full case study. So let's look at it. David Breaker is a weight loss coach who was keen to take his profile to the next level. From a previous meeting and recent content, David was aware that I'm a LinkedIn profile optimization expert, so he didn't hesitate in booking a deep dive service. What he's done, he's positioned his full client's buying process by telling them that obviously he took a meeting and then he was looking at my content, so he realized that I'm somebody who can help him and how he became a client. He also tells a story of working with them that makes you understand that he's somebody who goes the extra mile, which I love, right? He says, in addition to fully optimizing David's LinkedIn profile, we also came up with the ingenious banner concept where we photoshopped David's face onto the statue. This required that we get the express permission from the original artist in Italy. So yeah, he's gone the extra mile and gotten permission from the original artist in Italy. All right, so all in all, his LinkedIn profile is a masterclass in how to tell a clear story about who are your ideal clients, and how do you help them with just a LinkedIn profile. As a beginner, you obviously don't need to do all that he's done. Rome wasn't built in a day. But if you need a step-by-step checklist and more help optimizing your LinkedIn profile, we've obviously got that checklist in the description below. I'll even show you a quick preview of it. This is how it looks. We've got a level 0 checklist and a level 1 checklist and a level 2 checklist. If you complete all of this, you'll be an LinkedIn all-star. You don't need to do all of this, but you definitely need to do the level 0 to get to at least a basic LinkedIn profile. As always, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We've got an awesome calendar of content coming for you guys around LinkedIn, around sales, so that you can start getting a lot of leads from LinkedIn and cold email. So you make sure you do subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of it. All right, see you in the next video.